1936 Lincoln Zephyr. The Lincoln Zephyr, originally conceived as a lower-priced sub-brand of Lincoln, much like Cadillac's LaSalle, became a surprising success and eventually the core of the Lincoln lineup. Introduced in 1936, it was a forward-thinking car for its time. Not only was it Lincoln's first vehicle with unit body construction, a design that integrates the body and frame into a single structure for added rigidity, but it also featured a compact 4.4-liter V12 engine. This engine was notable for its balance between power and efficiency, something uncommon in its class. In terms of design, the Lincoln Zephyr embraced bold aerodynamic styling that set it apart from its contemporaries. Lincoln took a significant risk with this streamlined design, particularly because the Chrysler Airflow, a similarly aerodynamic car released in 1934, had been a commercial failure. However, the Zephyr's combination of modern engineering, innovative design, and the Lincoln brand's prestige led to its widespread appeal and long-term success. This helped solidify Lincoln's place in the luxury car market, making the Zephyr a landmark in the brand's history. Introduced during the Great Depression, the Lincoln Zephyr was a more affordable and practical alternative to Lincoln's high-end Model K. Its smaller size and less extravagant nature made it a sensible choice for buyers who wanted the luxury of a Lincoln without the excessive price tag. This strategy paid off as the Lincoln Zephyr quickly became a hit, accounting for approximately 80% of Lincoln's sales in its debut year. The car's success not only helped keep the brand afloat during difficult economic times, but it also positioned Lincoln as a more accessible luxury brand. After World War II, Lincoln dropped the Zephyr name, but the car's legacy lived on as it became the backbone of the Lincoln lineup until 1948. This post-war model retained many of the innovations and appeal that made the Zephyr popular, cementing its place in Lincoln's history as a significant turning point for the brand. 1956 Continental Mark II. In the 1950s, Ford set an ambitious goal: to create the finest personal luxury car in the world. The result was the 1956 Continental Mark II, a successor to the Lincoln Continental originally designed in 1940 by Edsel Ford. Unlike the flashy, chrome-laden designs that dominated American automotive culture at the time, the Mark II was the epitome of refined luxury, focusing on an understated and sophisticated style. First unveiled in Paris, the Mark II rejected the prevalent trends of fins and excessive chrome, favoring a minimalist approach that was more reminiscent of European luxury cars. Lincoln marketed this design philosophy as truly continental, emphasizing its international flair and elegance. The car became a symbol of exclusivity, appealing to those who valued luxury without the need for gaudy excess. It was a statement vehicle, reserved for the elite, and remains one of the most iconic examples of post-war American automotive design. The 1956 Continental Mark II was marketed under the standalone Continental brand, though it was sold through Lincoln dealerships. It was a testament to Ford's commitment to creating a luxury car of the highest caliber, largely hand-built with meticulous attention to detail. The car featured imported Scottish leather upholstery, a multi-coat hand-rubbed lacquer finish, and nearly every conceivable luxury feature at the time. The only option available was air conditioning, as the car came fully loaded with other amenities. With a price tag of $9,960, equivalent to about $102,000 today, the Mark II was positioned near the cost of a Rolls-Royce, underscoring its exclusivity and high-end nature. However, its intricate, labor-intensive assembly process meant that Ford reportedly lost $1,000 on each car sold. Despite this, the Mark II attracted notable buyers, including celebrities and influential figures like Frank Sinatra, Dwight Eisenhower, Elvis Presley, and Nelson Rockefeller. In its 2-year production run, just over 3,000 units were built, making it a rare and prestigious vehicle in the luxury car world. 1961 Lincoln Continental. The 1961 Lincoln Continental marked a dramatic departure from the flamboyant and heavily ornamented styling that dominated the 1950s. After 3 years of producing excessively flashy cars, Lincoln introduced this iconic model, widely regarded as one of the most beautiful and timeless luxury cars in history. Its long, low, squared-off silhouette and de-chromed design exuded a sense of modern, refined elegance. By turning away from the over-the-top design cliches of the previous decade, the 1961 Continental set a new standard in automotive luxury, instantly making its rival, Cadillac, appear outdated in comparison. This design shift solidified Lincoln's reputation, and the 1961 Continental became a hallmark of understated luxury, influencing car design for years to come. Its minimalist yet bold style is still admired today as one of the finest examples of American automotive design. The 1961 Lincoln Continental, available in both four-door sedan and four-door convertible versions, became instantly recognizable for its rear-hinged suicide back doors, which added a distinctive and elegant touch. This design choice, coupled with its clean and sophisticated styling, aligned perfectly with the evolving aesthetic of the early 1960s, a time when America was experiencing a radical shift in culture, fashion, and design. At the forefront of this cultural change was the Kennedy administration, with the young and stylish John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Kennedy epitomizing the era's elegance. The Kennedy White House embraced this change, using a 1961 Lincoln Continental as the presidential limousine. Tragically, this very car would become intertwined with one of the most significant and sorrowful moments in American history, the assassination of President Kennedy in 1963. Despite this dark chapter, both the Lincoln Continental and Jackie Kennedy Onassis became enduring symbols of the early 1960s. The Continental's place in history, along with its association with style and tragedy, solidified its status as an icon of early 1960s design, representing both a shift in American automotive engineering and the elegance of a bygone era. 1968 Lincoln Mark III. The 1969 Lincoln Continental Mark III may have represented the epitome of the rolling waterbed era of American luxury cars, but from a business perspective, it was nothing short of a massive success. At the time, the Lincoln Mercury division was drowning in financial losses, and drastic action was needed to turn things around. Enter Lee Iacocca, then Ford's executive vice president of the car and truck group, who saw an opportunity to create a new luxury vehicle using an existing platform, the Ford Thunderbird. Iacocca directed his team to build an affordable luxury car with a recognizable prestige symbol, a Rolls-Royce-style grille. The result was the Continental Mark III, which merged personal luxury styling with classic Lincoln grandeur. Despite being developed on the cheap, the Mark III's $6,585 price still managed to pack in a hefty profit, with $2,000 of that being pure profit, according to Iacocca. In its very first year, the Mark III outsold its primary rival, the Cadillac Eldorado, fulfilling Lincoln's goal of surpassing Cadillac in the lucrative personal luxury car market. This sales triumph helped transform the Lincoln Mercury division from a financial liability into a profitable powerhouse for Ford, cementing the Mark III's legacy as a pivotal model in Lincoln's history. The Lincoln Continental Mark III wasn't known for innovation, but it had one thing that commanded attention: power. Under the hood, the Mark III packed a 7.5-liter V8 engine capable of producing a massive 500 pound-feet of torque. This raw power translated into impressive performance for a vehicle of its size. Motor Trend clocked the 2.5-ton coupe going from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 8.6 seconds, a notable feat for such a heavy luxury car in 1968. While it may not have broken new ground in terms of design or technology, the Mark III was instrumental in turning around Lincoln's fortunes. It helped the brand regain profitability and, ultimately, saved Lincoln from potential demise. Without the Mark III's success, Lincoln might not have survived to celebrate its 50th anniversary, let alone its 100th. The car's blend of performance and luxury ensured that Lincoln remained a viable contender in the high-end automotive market at a time when the brand's future was uncertain. 1984 Lincoln Mark VII LSC. Lincoln spent the bulk of the 1970s selling overstuffed, overchromed, and highly profitable land yachts to a loyal base of so-called traditional buyers. So the Mark VII luxury sport coupe was a daring gamble. It was compact and aerodynamically styled with sparing use of brightwork, based on the Mustang's Fox platform with an electronic air suspension, intended to give some semblance of credible handling without need to decushify the ride too severely. Throughout the model run, Lincoln cautiously upped its bets, raising the 4.9-liter V8's output from 140 horsepower to 200, then 225 horsepower, and 300 pound-feet of torque, with the Mustang GT's high-output engine. The LSC swapped digital gauges for analog and introduced America's first four-wheel anti-lock braking system. By the late 1980s, the LSC had earned a reputation as a credible sports sedan, one that could run with, if not exactly outrun, the Germans. 1990 Lincoln Town Car. The 90 Town Car, winner of Motor Trend's 1990 Car of the Year award, was a true mind-bender. illustrating what could happen when modern design and engineering was applied to an old-fashioned style of motoring. Based on the, even then, aging Panther platform, the 1990 Lincoln Town Car was just as big, just as plush, just as soft, and just as silent as any of Lincoln's Malaise-era blimps. And yet it was modernized with slick aerodynamic styling, speed-sensitive steering, and a slightly tighter suspension that gave it genuine driver appeal. All that was missing was a modern engine, which came in the form of a 4.6-liter overhead cam V8 introduced for '91. It was the Lincoln that closed the generation gap, a car that appealed to luxury buyers whether or not they had a wallet stuffed with photos of their grandchildren. 1993, Lincoln Mark VIII. While its predecessor, the Continental Mark VII, took a few years to ease into its role as Lincoln's non-traditional super coupe, the Mark VIII arrived in full force, and sans Continental prefix. Its rounded styling was a jaw-dropper, and its arched, wood-trim-free dashboard made for an equally modern and impressive interior. Even the power plant was impressive. A thoroughly modern 32-valve DOHC V8 that moves the car down the road like a fast-freight locomotive on velvet rails. Despite its 3,750 pounds curb weight, the Mark VIII hustled to 60 in 7.1 seconds and attacked the corners with the zeal of a sports sedan. Just as the 1990 Town Car was a link to Lincoln's past, the Mark VIII looked at the time to be forging a path to the future. 1998 Lincoln Navigator. Lincoln single-handedly kicked off the full-size luxury segment not by luck, but by doing it right. Conceived at a time when Ford still owned Jaguar, the 1998 Navigator's distinctive Lincoln-esque looks and leather and wood-slathered interior made it a proper first-class ride, while the single overhead cam 5.4-liter V8 gave it the thrust to leave the commoners in the dust. Its burly 4x4 truck mechanicals gave it true go-anywhere capability, and a 30-gallon fuel tank ensured one need not stop on the way to nowhere. For the first time in recent memory, Lincoln outsold Cadillac, which scrabbled to create the Escalade by putting a wreath and crest grille on a GMC Yukon Denali, a move that only underscored the merits of the Navigator. Cadillac soon got it together and introduced a new Escalade that overtook the Navigator in both sales and prestige and comparison tests. But it was the Lincoln Navigator that set the tone for this still hot segment. 2000 Lincoln LS. Despite some promising cars in the previous decade, the LS was the last thing anyone expected from Lincoln. An honest-to-goodness rear-wheel drive sports sedan, manual transmission and all, the LS was based on the same platform that underpinned the Jaguar S-Type, and yet it offered a very American V8, albeit in a very European 3.9-liter size. The styling was rather understated compared to the contemporary and very handsome Town Car, but the interior was properly posh, proving that Lincoln had learned some lessons from Cadillac's failed 1996 Catera. And the driving experience was fantastic. While not quite up to the skill levels of its Japanese and European rivals, the LS was genuinely skilled and huge fun to wheel around a racetrack, which was the last thing we expected from a Lincoln short of it sprouting flowers from the dashboard. Mototrend named the LS as the 2000 Motor Trend Car of the Year, and lament to this day that it has never had a proper successor. 2020 Lincoln Aviator. Though based on Ford Explorer bones, the Lincoln Aviator has its own high-lux personality, with an interior that no Euro luxury car owner could complain about. It's also one heck of a straight-line performer, particularly in 494 horsepower and 630 pound-feet Grand Touring hybrid form. Not bad for a vehicle that can also run emissions-free on pure battery power. Like many of history's best Lincolns, the Aviator can match its skills against serious high-dollar European luxury marques, not to mention its domestic rival, and come out with its headlights held high. It's a little early to say for sure, but we think history will remember the Aviator as one of the Lincoln's great cars. Let me know what you thought of this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my other videos by clicking the links over here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.